And first off, thank you, Bill, for inviting me, and to my friend Joe Citro. It's always good to see you, Joe, and Mike Suarez. Good to see you, too. A lot of familiar faces in the room. So what I thought I would do, because I actually really enjoy question and answers, I'm going to try and be brief in my comments. I want to talk a little bit about regionalism first, and then hit on a few things happening in St. Pete, and then really just open up for Q&A. To me, that's where the real fun happens. Plus, I've been to enough events myself where I've been sitting in your seat and had a burning question that I wanted to ask, and the speaker droned on and on and on. And I never got to ask my question because by the time they stopped speaking, there was no time left. So I'm going to try not to do that. So the first thing I want to talk about really is regionalism. And it is hard for me to believe it's been 7.5 years since I got elected, but that was one of the things that I focused on when I first was running. And it helped that the mayor here in Tampa at the time, Bob Buckhorn, was a friend of mine for a very long time. And he and I had talked about this during my time when I was at the State House, and because I'd known him for a while. But we thought this is really stupid that St. Pete and Tampa and Hillsborough County and Pinellas County are fighting against each other and battling each other and not working together. Because we recognize that if we work together as a region, if our two cities work together, our counties work together, we were stronger and could be stronger than anywhere else in the state of Florida, and we could compete with anyone, anywhere in the country. And so it was one of the things that I was really pleased about when I got elected, is that we were able to start building bridges between our two communities, our counties, and actually the entire region with our friends from Pasco here. Really, it is all of us. And when we work together as a Tampa Bay region, I don't think there is anyone else in the country that can compete with us. We have more to offer. And one of the things that we recognized right away was, look, if a business comes to Tampa Bay and they settle in Tampa, that's good for St. Petersburg. Because those people that are working at that business, guess what? Some of them are going to live in St. Pete, and they're certainly going to come across the bridge to St. Pete and spend money in St. Pete. Likewise, if a business comes here to Tampa Bay and they locate in St. Pete, the same thing. Some of those folks are going to live in Tampa, and they're certainly going to come across the bridge and spend money here in Tampa. And so it was like, why are we fighting against each other? Why are we not working together? So to us, it was kind of a no-brainer. And then we moved things in, and this started, I don't know if it started before me or not, but we certainly continued the tradition of the mayor of St. Pete, the mayor of Clearwater, and the mayor of Tampa getting together quarterly for lunches. We still do that. Now that Jane is mayor, Jane, I, and Frank Hibbert, who took over in Clearwater from George Creticus, the three of us get together. And we talk about what's going on in our cities, and we share ideas. And we talk about how can we help each other be successful. And the more we do that, and the more our region works together, the stronger we will be, the more businesses we will be able to bring here, and the more problems we'll be able to solve. And clearly, I think one of the areas where we need a lot of focus is on transportation. And you know, the entire region is challenged, I think, when it comes to transportation. And if St. Pete is going it alone, and Tampa is going it alone, and Newport Richey or Pasco or Leslie Chapel or whatever area, if we're all going it alone, we're not going to solve the transportation challenge. And we're also going to be at a huge disadvantage when it comes to attracting businesses to this community. And the more businesses we attract, the more jobs we create, the more tax revenue we generate, the more we're able to invest in programs that lift everyone up and address poverty and some of the challenges we have. And so I think when it comes to regionalism, one of the big areas where we're really going to have to work hard, because there's a lot of forces that seem to be pushing against us when it comes to transportation, is transportation. And I'm glad you all are here and I can talk about that, because I think your voices are going to be really important. We have right now one regional transit body, T-BARTA, and there is a lot of effort that's underway right now to tear it apart and to not fund it and to not see things happen. I serve on that board. And we are working on a transit system that would go from Wesley Chapel to USF to downtown Tampa to West Shore to Carolina to downtown St. Petersburg. Think how transformative that would be for our region. You know, we talk about, and I'm sure no one's going to ask me about the Rays today, but we talk about, you know, the success of that baseball team. If they do stay at St. Petersburg, how much more success will they have if people can get from Wesley Chapel to the stadium easily? I mean, if you've ever gone to a game in Boston or Washington, D.C., and you can get the subway, the metro system, and go straight to the stadium, it makes it so easy. And you don't have to get into a car. You know, I think the greatest example we have right now of regionalism is Cross Bay Ferry. I mean, think about that. You have Hillsborough, Pinellas, and St. Pete and Tampa that all work together, that were able to actually get something done because they worked together, and we created this ferry system. And how many of y'all that are in the room have ridden on the ferry? Isn't it awesome? I mean, what a great way, aside from the fact that you don't have to get in the car and drive over the Howard Franklin or the Andy Bridge to get to either downtown St. Pete or downtown Tampa, but what a great way to see our two communities and the beauty of downtown Tampa and downtown St. Pete than from the water. Because if you don't own a boat, you don't have access to that vision. And it's very different than it is if you're in a car. But it only happened because 4 government entities came together and said, you know what, we're going to do something that benefits all residents in our community. And it's worked. And until the pandemic, the numbers we were setting were incredible. And so I'm very appreciative of Hillsborough County right now because I've been the one carrying, no pun intended, the water on the ferry system. During my time in office, I'm leaving, as Bill mentioned, and so I was really hoping that someone would pick it up and run with it. And so thank you to Hillsborough County for being willing to do that, and not only just moving us toward continuing the seasonal service, but moving us toward real commuter service, which truthfully with one boat is very hard to do. You really can't have the true commuter service where somebody who lives in St. Pete and works in Tampa can take the ferry to work. But when you have 4 boats that are operating year-round, 7 days a week, with 15-minute wait times in between, then you can have real commuter service. Then you can really make a difference. And that's what we're working towards. So I think it's the future is very exciting. You know, I hope we don't have setbacks that try and take us back to where we were before when it comes to our communities working together, because I think if we go in a backwards direction, it's not going to be good for us. There's too much competition. Charlotte, Austin, Boston, you know, all of those cities have things that they're offering because they work together. Raleigh-Durham is a great example, again. When we work together, we can do anything in this region. I'm absolutely convinced of it. And so I'm really hopeful whoever comes after me will have the same feelings that I have had about the importance of regionalism and all of us working together. We are one community. We are Tampa Bay, as we're all looking to say. And it's true. And again, I want a thank you to the Lightning, to the Buccaneers, to the Rays. All of them recognize that. You know, the Lightning just won the Stanley Cup. Again, they reached out to ours across the bay. They've been to St. Pete. They've taken, you know, they recognize it's a regional asset. And they get it, so we all need to get it too. So, and you can feel free to ask me more questions about regionalism if you want.
Okay, I'll go over to Ron.